Hello, welcome to episode 22 of the Epic Film Challenge 2 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die. 1954's On the Waterfront, Marlon Brando. I could have had class, I could have been a contender. Classic film. I'd never seen it before. Watched it on Blu-ray last week and absolutely loved it. There's almost not even that much to say about the film. It's a very simple film that's acted wonderfully and it's just a great story. Marlon Brando is one of those all-time greats that people always point to when you talk about the best actors of all time. I'd only really seen him in, I guess, the opening of Superman, and of course, The Godfather, in which he's great. But you know, there's a lot of films that he's done that I haven't seen, haven't been aware of. I've never seen him in this earlier stage of his career, so I was really excited to check it out, and I'd had the Blu-ray for ages. Finally watched it for this series, and I just absolutely loved it. He plays a character called Terry Molloy, who is a former professional boxer. Well, I don't even know if he went professional. I guess he was, but I mean, it's kind of alluded to that he could have had a big career, but he kind of didn't, and it got cut short. And we kind of find that out later on why that happened in a pivotal scene of the film. But he kind of works on the docks. I'm not sure where it's supposed to be set. I'm pretty sure we can see the New York skyline across the water, so I'm not sure if it's in like Brooklyn or what. I really don't know the geography of it. It's in the New York area, I guess. But he lives in this kind of small kind of dock community. You know, everyone in the town goes down and works at the docks, but the docks are corrupt. There's extortion going on, there's racketeering going on, and the mob basically owns the docks, and so a lot of people don't get to work, and there's kind of pressure from the mob on the people who do work there to keep quiet and not to talk about all the illicit things that happen down there. And no one has the guts to kind of stick up for themselves and stick up for everyone else and stand up for the community and kind of spill the beans. And I mean, if everyone just stood up and said, we had enough of your shit and we're going to go tell the police, it would be over. But they're too threatened, they're too they're too scared to do that. And Terry Molloy is kind of the same, but he is kind of involved in the mob in a very kind of tertiary kind of way, I felt, almost on the outside, and his older brother is much more into it than he is. Terry just kind of goes along with it, and at the beginning of the film he gets involved in the situation that ends up getting someone killed. He didn't think that was what was going to happen, and you know, this is definitely not something he wants to be a part of, and so he's guilty about it. And of course he falls in love with the sister of the guy who died, and the complications continue. But Terry is a very interesting character, and I mean, knowing kind of a little bit about Marlon Brando and his reputation and stuff as an actor, I really felt like this film was going to be a real kind of cool character, almost like Cool Hand Luke, just, you know, like the guy who could just, you know, had it all figured out and everything. It's nothing like that, and I was really pleasantly surprised by that, even though it would have been cool to see, because I enjoy cool characters in film. But Terry is kind of a simple guy, you know. He's not very well educated, he can't even count, you know, and he becomes quite a sympathetic character, and almost a childlike character, I felt. And Brando played him so just beautifully, I thought. I really loved his character and his potential romance that was brewing up with the character of Edie, played by Eva Marie Saint, who, right out of the gate, this is her first film, boom, Oscar, you know, and that speaks for itself. She was great in the film. I love the actor who played Father Barry, who's a priest who starts to kind of see some of this corruption going on, and he decides to take a stand for, you know, the people who are kind of getting it in the neck, and nothing's being done about it, and he's like, well, I'm going to stand up, and you should all stand up with me. A great speech he delivers at some point in the film, which was just phenomenal, and I thought the guy who played him was great as well. But you know, the whole film is filled with great actors and great performances, and the story, I think, is really kind of simple, sweet, touching, heartbreaking at times, and I just loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It's shot in black and white, and that really fits the mood of the film, the atmosphere of down at the docks and stuff, and that kind of just, that feel was great. There's some great moments. There's a wonderful scene where Brando and Eva Marie Saint, they're walking through this park, and she drops one of her gloves, and he picks it up and he starts putting it on. Just these real kind of, these small kind of idiosyncrasies that just, when they're in a film, they just make it feel so much more believable. It seems like such a simple thing, but it just really hooks you into the characters, at least it did with me. And I just loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I really thought it was great, and by the end it really builds to this kind of climax that I just really wasn't sure what was going to happen. And for me, I would say that the whole film, up until the last 10 minutes, is about a 9 out of 10, you know, like just a really, really strong film. The last 10 minutes, like, it's like 12 out of 10. Like, the ending is, if you don't feel something within you that starts stirring in that last 10 minutes at any point, then, you know, you should probably, you know, get your head checked, because it just, I thought the ending was great and really powerful. And yeah, it was just fantastic. Great film. There's not much more to say about it, really. I highly recommend you check it out if you haven't seen it already. I loved it. Is it a film you must see before you die? Absolutely. It's just one of those films that has great performances, a great story. It's not too complicated. It's just a real simple, cut and dry kind of story, but it just works on every level, I feel. And keeps you guessing up towards the end about what's going to happen. And there's a great scene with Terry and his brother that I thought was probably the highlight of the film, apart from the ending, with the scene where he says the famous line, you know, I could have had class, I could have been a contender. Like, it's just brilliant performance. And as I said, I loved how he played it as this kind of simple guy, and almost a childlike innocence to him and naivety to him, you know. But at the same time, he still has that kind of swagger and that kind of coolness. So it's an interesting mix, actually, to put that kind of coolness with the kind of naive, maybe innocent, childlike features that coloured, I think, Terry's character. And the guy who's kind of the head of the mob and kind of is the antagonist of the film, he was fantastic as well. So yeah, this film hits on all cylinders in terms of the performances, and the way it was shot was great. It looks fantastic. I just can't say enough good things about it. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Thanks for watching.